in the lane, moving fast, ayy, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revinova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revinova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revinova, it's fully protected. They have cutting-edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real-time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revinova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are going to jump right in. I got a very special guest for you guys here, but before I bring him up, here is your reminder. The Freight Coach newsletter, every single Wednesday, it drops, all right? I don't auto-sign people up for it, so if you want to receive this newsletter that has rates, we got a bunch of shit out there. It's all industry focused. Go to thefreightcoach.com. It will auto prompt you to register for it. Again, I'm not going to sell out a bunch of my contacts' email addresses because it annoys the shit out of me when people do that to me. So I will not do that to anybody else. So if you want to hit it up, freightcoach.com. With that being said, you guys, I have the literal strongest man in logistics back on the show today, Mr. Robert Bain. Robert, thank you so much for joining me.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, dude, I'm good. I'm glad you were able to jump on here this morning as well. It's some of the the gift of having a lot of people in my network is if there's any last minute changes, I'm very fortunate to have people I can reach out to be like, hey, do you want to jump on the show last minute? So I appreciate it. And then I was like, dude, because I thought I was like, fuck. I'm like, I think he was just on. Dude, it was like early November the last time you were on. So it's been a while, man. So dude, what is good in your world?
Dude, first of all, it's so good to be me. Like, life is so good. Also, a very special treat. I don't think I've ever worn a collared shirt on your show, and I'm actually wearing one today. Yeah, so it's wild. Just so everyone knows, I don't have cord or anything. Everything's fine. So, no, dude, things are good, man. GLCS is great. We're growing like crazy. In spite of some things which are tougher for service providers, but we have our niche around tech, which is awesome, and that's very helpful. Life's good. The granddaughter just turned 1, which is so cool. She's mobile, agile, hostile, and I love it. And training's going good. actually, I think, yeah, we talked right before I competed back in November. So I'm sure we'll hit on that at some point today. But no, things are good, man. It's great to be me. It's great to be in the industry, and great to be doing dope stuff.
So I saw this video from Manifest. Was this accurate in my assessment that it was you who was on stage shirtless with Flo Rida, possibly rapping to Going Down for Real? Is that an accurate thing?
So there is a degree of accuracy to that. I was not totally shirtless.
Okay.
Because once I did take my shirt off and throw it in the crowd, Flo actually gave me his vest.
Oh, okay.
And his sunglasses and his mic. And yes, I ran the hook on Going Down for Real at Manifest.
Hey, again, I don't like to, to try and steal anybody's thunder, but that I saw that and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That is hilarious. So like, I don't even want to know how you got yourself into that position, but I actually do want to know how the hell did you get yourself on stage there?
I mean, because my life is dope. I do dope shit. It's part of it. But no, so for those who don't know, Manifest every year it's very early in January, February timeframe, usually right either the week of or the week after the Super Bowl. And the big thing with Manifest is it's an amazing networking conference. You see a ton of new stuff. A lot of stuff gets dropped there. But they have a tradition where they have an after party. And the after party is always, usually some hip hop artist or some R&B, something along those lines. And we've had Ludacris, we've had Nelly, Neo, and I say we because like I've been a part of Manifest every year, and like now I've gotten to know some of the folks that put it on. And so this year was Flo Rida, and Flo is known for like really getting the crowd involved in his shows. Like he typically will go out into the crowd, during the show, which is super cool. So where they were playing Where Them Girls At, they brought a bunch of ladies up on stage, and they were all acting a fool. Will Jenkins, he coined the term career limiting moves. There was a lot of that on both sides, both the guys and the girls, especially some of the guys. You've seen the whole video. But as they started Going Down for Real, then they say, hey, hold up. We got to bring the guys up here. And one of the guys in his crew sees me and he points right at me. I'm like, you don't got to tell me twice, man. Yeah. And it was, get up there and he already had his shirt off. This dude took his shirt off like 2 songs into the set. And he motions for me to take my shirt off. And I tell this whole story because it kind of set the tone for everything up there on stage, whether the 5 minutes we were up there. I take my shirt off, and you can even see behind his sunglasses, his eyes just got huge. Like, what am I looking at? and like, yes, a big white rhinoceros is in front of you right now. So he motions over to Flo, who's like dabbing some dude up and sees me too. He throws this dude out of the way and brings me front and center. And of course, a lot of my industry friends are there, and people kind of, if I'm not friends with them directly, like they know who I am, because I've been very, very lucky to develop a great presence on LinkedIn and the other socials. So you can hear this like crowd pop, kind of like a WWF entrance. And it's like, all right, I'm doing it. And I just chuck my shirt into the crowd.
Yes.
People go crazy. It's awesome. And so they start, they do a pose in front. That was when they got memed by Freight Caviar, everybody doing the front stuff. And then they start the song. And so they're doing that. And then as they're doing the hook, Flo grabs me and then throws the mic in my hand. And I just run it. Like, I know the song, I know the words, like whatever. And so afterwards, the couple very, very funny things. So afterwards, I go to the restroom. I have to go all the way around the back. And if you've never been to Brooklyn Bowl in Las Vegas, like it's a big dance floor and you kind of go by the bar or whatever. And I'm in line and there's somebody in there. Yeah, some jackass took his shirt off and threw it in the crowd. I'm like, yeah, that was me, man. And I'm standing there with my shirt off, like, right behind this guy, which was really, really funny. The whole bathroom cracks up. And another friend comes over, kind of acquaintance, was like, hey, like, I need to introduce you to this person, this young lady. So, hey, nice to meet you, whatever, Robert Bain. And she's like, yeah, I saw you and go, is that guy even human? And I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm not. I'm absolutely not.
Dude, and I mean, for context, you guys, Robert squats 1,000 pounds. How much do you bench? Like, I'm not making this shit up. Like, when he says man in logistics, he's not bullshitting you guys. Like, he fucking is a very well renowned in the powerlifting scene and everything that's out there. So he is literally built like a brick shit house. And if you haven't met him, he will fucking like the first time you meet Robert Bain, it will all make sense. Like the dude is a fucking unit. All right. I'm not
and
like,
let me break it down for everybody. Yes, I am shorter than you think I am. Get it out of the way. It happens all the time. To your question about the lifting, I'll answer in a sec. Hilarious part about my shirt, because then I realized after I'm done with this whole thing, like, I don't know where my shirt is. And we're barely halfway through the set. Like, what? I'm not going to knife through the crowd without my shirt on, because that's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
And Merrill from Green Screens comes up and says, "You're not going to believe this. When you threw your shirt in the crowd, it landed in Ryan Beal's hand. Like, he's standing there. It like didn't hit the floor, nothing. It just landed right on his hand. He's like, yeah, I got Bain's shirt. I guess we'll wait till he's done.
Oh my God.
So shirt never hit the floor, which is great. So to answer the question though about the lifting, yes. So strongest man in logistics, coined that phrase because I don't know anybody else that can outlift me. So I did compete in November as the numbers all went up. I squatted 1151. I benched 611 and pulled 705, which matched my best all time. Should have done more. Had a bit of an issue on my second attempt where I was fully stand up and locked out, and the judge, I guess, I don't know, she took a nap or something, because she just stood there or sat there with her arm up, didn't give the down command until a bar fell out of my hand. So long story short though, yeah, so 2469 total, which the squat was number 7 all time my weight class and number 24 all time all weight classes, and it was a top 100 total all time all weight classes, and top 40 I believe in the 275 class.
Dude, I love it. And, you know, another for anybody who's listening to this on the audio only, you guys, Robert is also in his 40s, and he is, it's not like he's a young man. All right. Like
I'll be 43 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, dude. So the guy's out there putting in work. But, dude, like, let's transfer into the, because I feel like we could go on about this.
We can do this forever. Like, I can talk about powerlifting all day long.
This is why I love having my friends on here, because we can just shoot the shit the whole time. But, you know, I do want to touch a little bit on what we were, you know, planning on discussing today, right? And it is a lot of, you know, I think, like, you know, you guys do a lot of stuff, work with technology and everything else. And, you know, I think, like, with where we're at right now and utilizing some of the tools that are at our disposal, you know, your carrier network and really assessing what's going on out there as a broker. And I mean, even I think carriers need to be doing this about their network of brokers on who they're working with and everything else, man. So, like, what are you guys really rolling out? And because you wanted to talk about some of the stuff that you guys got going on right now.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff we're working on. You know, we recognize that there were some things that we needed to provide our, you know, prospects and broker customers. Just one, for some additional value, but also, like, the industry needs this stuff with fraud and theft, and all the bad guys are still getting what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, like, if somebody wants your freight, they're gonna get it. Like, hate to break it to you, but, like, if they really want it, they are going to get it. But if you can make it more difficult for them, because what they really look for low hanging fruit. They want to be in and out, boom, boom, and they want stuff to be simple. And so if you can make it not simple, you can reduce that risk. Again, maybe not eliminate, but you can reduce it. So one of the things we wanted to take a look at is the overall capacity networks and freight networks that our clients were working in. Because if you understand the risks that are inherently there, then you can start to put the guardrails in place, not only from a technology, but also a process perspective. Ultimately, like, technology is only as good as the people and processes that are working with it.
Yeah.
So, like, I love, you know, stuff like Highway and Carrier Assure and Freight Validate and all these awesome products that are there to make sure that you know who you're working with and you know who you're dealing with, and they're legit and they're real. They are still not 100% foolproof. And so, knowing that, what can we do to institute additional processes and create that additional knowledge so people can start to smell the guys that are not going to pass the sniff test?
Yeah.
So now understand what this is geared towards. I'm not going to sit here and point at every carrier in Elk Grove Village right over here and say, oh, they're bad, they're terrible. Real talk, I'm actually going to be speaking at the Midwest European Truckers Association.
Hell yeah.
In April, which, like, all I got was a picture that said, would you like to speak at Meta? I'm like as in Facebook? Like, no, it's not. But it's important, because this is it honestly is a kind of an underrepresented group when it comes to you know, these different associations, and also the education that a lot of these guys are coming over. They know how to drive truck, and they just are figuring stuff out as they go. So So what we did is we looked at a couple things. We get data from our clients. I won't go through all the special sauce, but I want to kind of walk through a little bit of what we're looking at.
Yeah, for sure.
And we start to look at some of the basics of how often are you reusing carriers? How many carriers are you setting up every single day? What are the technologies that you're using to not only set them up, but also to continuously monitor them? What are your protocols and what are your standards for carrier usage? Like, are you cool with using conditional carriers? Do you want to use, ones that have never had inspections before? What are the things that we can do so we can take out a lot of the gray areas and also start to prepare people for, okay, I have a guy I want to work with. The no inspection thing is really hot right now, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So knowing that, how do you prepare your team to say, okay, you don't initially pass this, but you appear to be a good actor. How can we either set ourselves at ease, like, yes, we can use this carrier, or nope, we've gone through this process. We understand this is just, we do not have the tolerance for a carrier like this. No problem. Great. But most of the time, these guys that are saying, nope, hard stop, you have no inspections, you can't play, is because there is a lack of education on what that actually means.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot. Like, I've started to see this because, like, I'm connected with a lot of drivers in the industry, and I've seen a couple of posts here recently how there's guys who are, they're based in the Midwest, but they have a truck out east, and then they're like, we can't even find freight coming back because we don't have an inspection out east, so therefore these guys aren't going to give us. And he's like, what? And one of the posts that I had read, he was like, what's crazy is this is a broker that we have worked with in the past multiple times, and they will not give us a load in that. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And like, the thing that bugs the shit out of me the most about this is every single driver in 12 months from now will not have to deal with any of this stuff because supply and demand, the market will have probably shifted at that point. And now every broker who's making you jump through hoops are going to remove all of these hoops. And now they're going to go back and revert back to,
and they're going to be begging for your truck, and you're going to tell them,
it's ridiculous to me. But anyways, sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, it's legit. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted to roll this out, because you should put guardrails in place to protect your business. That's absolutely something that every business owner should do. You do it. I do it. Our CEO, Nate Johnson, does it. That's what business owners do. You want to protect your livelihood, and that's what you're doing. But also, don't be so blind and so dogmatic in those different rules that you can say, hey, this is a true exception, and then explain to why. Because again, this comes down to how well are you training your people, how well are you educating your people on not only the steps they're taking, but why they're taking them.
Yeah.
So back to what we actually do then. So we start to look at carrier usage. We look at where those carriers are domiciled. We also take a look at the freight network. Where are you shipping out of? Where are their high-risk areas? Some of the stuff's pretty common knowledge, but when you put it all together and package, you go, oh, wow, this makes a lot of sense. For instance, with one of the customers that we piloted this with, we looked at their network. The network wasn't huge. They moved like 6,000 shipments last year. So like a great business. But I mean, obviously you've got some brokerages that are shipping 6,000 loads before noon. So there's levels to it, right? And as we look through that, it's like, wow, your top 8 carriers actually haul 33% of your loads. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But also you used 1,250 carriers last year, and you've used 946 of them one time.
Yeah.
That is a massive red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that's one of those things, Robert, that I think is a constant across most brokerage floors out there, right? And a lot of that is, dude, I like, again, I'm not here to tell anybody that they're incentivizing their people wrong, but I guarantee there's a straight line to their incentive structure on why that happens, because they're just trying to drive the rate down. And again, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to run.
People do what you pay them to do.
Exactly, right? So it's like, I feel like that number is, I've heard that from so many brokerage leaders out there, right? Like, oh, our one-time carrier utilization is like 70%, 80% of our freight. We want to change that. And then I've always told them, like, well, why don't you? And it's always like, well, and it's like, dude, it boils down to money. All right. You are not incentivizing your people to reuse the same carriers time and time again. Right. And it's like, I feel like, and I talk about this often. I am not anti-load board. You need to use load board. Load boards are great, but they are a crutch. All right. You utilize them to develop capacity, because to my knowledge, there is not a more efficient way to develop carrier capacity than that right there. But once you find that trucking company, you're what's your assessment?
So live capacity, I agree with you, but to develop Long-term capacity, I disagree.
Okay. So if we're talking about actually bringing customers on here, your first opportunity is going to be what? Last minute.
So no, I totally get it. So live capacity, I completely agree. However, as you look to grow your business, so you look at, because developing a capacity network is going to be around business you are getting, whether it's regular or irregular. And so a capacity rep, let's assume the Chicago split model, right? So you got customer and carrier facing. So if you're a cradle to grave, this is a different conversation because you need to bring in the freight before you find the carriers. So I get that.
Yep.
But we're going to assume this split model. So you've already got a bit of a freight network. And so knowing that, you have some things that are somewhat regular. Even if it's, hey, I move this one time a month, no problem. Remember when we first started the industry, you would be on the floor and you say, hey, I've got, Chicago to Atlanta, flatbed, 40,000 pounds, whatever. Someone would yell it out. They had an opportunity, right? And there was that one guy off in the corner goes, yeah, you want to call PS Trucking or you want to call PEG. Like they would start rattling off carriers because they know that's their network. That the art of that is lost. So where I go with that is, as you start to develop capacity, there is a never-ending list of carriers for you to call. You can look at space on the name of it right now, but there's a couple of lists out there that you can get. It's very, very expensive. It's a few $100s a month. And you can just get every single carrier that has a US DOT number. You can pull that up. And it doesn't matter if it's a municipality or if it's Nice Swift and FedEx. And you can start running through that. You can look at if they have Class A vehicles. You can start looking through there. You can search by these different things. So knowing that, you as a capacity rep have a never-ending supply of calls to make. What do you do? How do you do it? What are the holes in your network? And half to 75% of these people will tell you, pound sand, I don't want to talk to you right now. But you have a few of those conversations. This is no different than traditional customer sales. Hey, I've got these 20 carriers over the last month that I've called and talked to, and these are the lanes they're looking for. By the way, here's some targeted sales opportunities for your sales team. Hooray. And it becomes a flywheel effect of your sales team's constantly calling customers to try to get freight. Now you've got capacity on a somewhat regular basis that you developed, not always through the load board. Again, live capacity, last minute, spot freight, load board is great. I'm with it. But truly developing a carrier network is going to be a combination of using those guys over and over, but also seeking out people that aren't posting on load boards. And so you have to use tools to do that. Or if you're looking at, hey, I'm going to look in the major warehousing areas, Romeoville, Ontario, California, Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex, and do Google Earth. Literally look down and look at where carriers are at and where the buildings are at. You can start to match that stuff up.
Google Earth is the most underutilized tool for business development.
I'm saying,
dude, we use that. We have a lead list that we go after in our cold call list, but I Google Earth everything. Every single time I call somebody, I'm pulling up Google Earth because I want to see what businesses are around there as well, to see what's the offset chance. Because again, you guys, the problem with most lead generation software is it's too keyword focused, right? Which obviously that's the whole point of it, but it doesn't have everything. And you can get into some of these pockets that are out there and you can hammer that stuff, right? But in regards to the capacity aspect of things, like I feel like truly your sole job as a broker is to use in-network utilization. That's going to be the only way to fight fraud. That's going to be the only way to go through and actually do anything of meaning out there. Like, again, the freight that we have a list of carriers that we call first, no matter what, does not matter where it is, because we have actual conversations with these guys when we're booking them up. We want to find out, where are you running? How many trucks do you have in your fleet? What equipment do you have in your fleet? Because again, in my world, we have flatbed, step decks, Conestogas, the whole nine. We want to find out what they all have, because again, a ton of opportunities are going to come your way. Like, we work with this carrier out of California, for example. We've worked with them a bunch now, and dude, they got everything, right? They got flat steps, RGNs, everything that we could want. And now, dude, like, that's just who we call. Anytime we have it in their service region, we call them first. No matter what, they're going to give us a price and they're going to be there, right? So it's like, I think like a lot of the situations that we find ourselves in as brokers are self-inflicted. I really do.
100%. And it really comes from, and please, who listens to this, take this the right way. It comes from aggressive laziness. Yeah. If I can cover the load with a truck that's live right now, I don't care. But I will tell you, when you can start to develop regular carriers as well as regular freight, all of a sudden you have a very predictable paycheck and business model. And then you actually have to develop protection around that book of business. Case in point, we had a client that we used to work with way back when I was slinging trucks, way back when I was slinging freight. And we moved very difficult lanes, moved stuff out of Alabama and Georgia into West Texas and out of Southern California into West Texas. No one wants to go to Odessa and Midland. No one wants to go there. But we found people that did. And we found it and we were able to make money. And so as people would come in and even quote these guys less than we were doing, it's like, cool, but when's the last time we had a service failure? Well, it's been 18 months. So do you really want to risk that when they have to go find the new network that we've been developing for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Like, it's true, they may find the trucks, the same ones we are. They're going to pay them less because they want to make their margin. And the drivers are not going to be happy, so they're not going to take your freight as seriously. So we maintained our rates and our margins. Drivers loved it because we had guys that were literally building their business around what we were doing. And we created this insulation where we knew every single month we've got, I think it was like $2.5 million worth of freight spend every single month just from this one customer.
Yeah. It's, dude, to me, I think what you're describing here, you're right, man. It's a lost art. And I feel like it's been extremely market driven, because we're coming up on 5 years of, I don't care what anybody says. You guys have not struggled to cover freight, right?
No, you have not.
And if you have struggled, it's because you're an idiot. All right. I will just call it for what it is. But with that, so a lot of what we're talking about right here is not going to be relevant to a lot of you. All right. A lot of you are like, no, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's just not the way things are. I've brokered for a long time. There's going to come a point in time, you guys, where you guys are going to be like, fuck, I probably should have listened to everything Chris has been saying for the last, I don't know, we're borderline 15 months now at this point, where when it changes, right? Because it's going to come a point in time. And a lot of you out there who have not operated in the best way, you're going to struggle. All right. And it's going to be pretty bad right away because you're not, it's human nature, right? You go from being in charge, all of a sudden you're not in charge and you don't know how to fucking operate anymore. But again, if you're out there and you're treating your drivers with respect, you're doing a lot of what we've talked about on this show. You're not even going to notice a difference. Actually, you're going to grow. You're going to grow in that market because the appetite for failure will be at an all-time low. Because again, if you're used to trucks being easy to cover, most shippers are going to be very used to that as well. So again, when they don't get that experience or that service anymore, they're going to kick you out and it's going to be fucking quick. And you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to be like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have been as concerned about an extra $50 on every single load and rolled the dice every single time because you've been getting away with it, right? It's been, because if you've been pushing a rate down, it's been easy to recover it with somebody else, but eventually that's going to stop.
Correct.
Right? And it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate through that time if you don't change the way that you're going about these things.
Correct. Absolutely. And that's, so that's kind of the point of this whole thing is, once we identify some of the risks that are in the network, then we look at how do we change some of these behaviors. We look at incentivization of the reps. We look at the technology that's being used. We look at the processes. Like, again, I'd like to try to invert the steps when it comes to capacity. You get a load on the board. You obviously are going to look at a few of the parameters, but assuming some utopia, you're not going to go to the load board first. That's one of the last steps you go to. I want my known carriers. I want people I've worked with in the past. I want people that are historical on that lane or something close to it. And then I'm looking at live capacity because I want to work with people I already know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, no, and that's exactly it for me, man. That is the way that I've always, I can't say always, but that is the way that I like to operate. And I stay in that, in that realm because it's, as somebody who's doing both, right? Like I'm doing carrier sales and customer sales and everything else. I got to get the most bang for my buck as I'm going out there. And that's from a time perspective, right? Like I cannot spend all day long trying to recover freight day in and day out because I want to try and make a little bit extra money on that. You got to start thinking long-term with a lot of this because again, I am still waiting for the broker to come to me with a business plan that shows how they make money as a broker without needing trucks. Still waiting for that to happen. I don't think anybody's came up with that. So, until we get there though, man, we're going to find ourselves in those positions. And, again, you need to be constantly assessing your operations, right? Like
Mhm.
you have to be looking at how do you get a little bit better? How do you, that's something that I focus on a lot, man, is, hey, how do I increase my output by just a little bit more, right? Like I'm not going for I need to, 10x my output. It's like, how do I get those small incremental bumps? And then before
1%, 1%, baby.
And that's exactly it. And a lot of people are overlooking that. They really are. And that's my main focus is how do I free up a little bit more time to make 5 more sales calls a day?
Here's a good example of that, right? Because I think it's lost on like what that means to do like a little bit every day. I started powerlifting 11 years ago, like competing. Like I would do my first meet in 2014. So training wise, I started in 2013, end of that year. And my first meet, I totaled 1,300. I was 4th out of 5 people because one guy bombed out. This past November, so you're talking 11 years hence, I totaled 2,469. I had almost 1,200 pounds to my total during that time. That did not happen overnight. That did not happen in one session. That happened in a couple sessions. That was getting better. And then that's also with injuries. That's with the, whatever happened in 2020. We won't go down that rabbit hole. That's with all types of, with life, stresses, like all this kind of stuff. So all that stuff has to be worked through. But you look at the general trajectory, it's all up and to the right. But then you look at the point A to point B, it's like, oh, wow. Like, this is a very run-of-the-mill, like, hey, good job on your first, but, like, that's a pretty average total to you're talking that, like, only 30-some people in history have ever done better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly it, man. You got to take your time with this stuff. You got to break it down step by step, and you got to start looking at how do you get those small improvements in your business and everything else? Because at the end of the day, you guys, there's not a lot of discernible differences between the service offerings of the largest players in the industry and the smallest players in the industry. And you got to think, what are ways that you can go out there, invest in to compete and everything else. And technology is going to be a very, very large piece of that here moving forward. But Robert, dude, I appreciate you jumping on last minute here like this.
Absolutely,
man. How does anybody reach out to you to find out more about what you guys got going on?
Yeah, so you email me, rbain, it's my last name, at glcs.net, not .com.net. You can find me on LinkedIn, Robert Bain, Strongest Man in Logistics. If you want to follow the powerlifting journey, jump on at Bain316 on Instagram. I do have the Strongest Man in Logistics Instagram. I am very rarely on it, but you're welcome to follow that as well.
I love it. Robert, thank you so much for joining me. That's going to be it for today, you guys. We got guests coming on every day this week. As always, you guys, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show. If you're feeling really ambitious, which you should be, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, you guys, because if you saw value, chances are your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.